I don't want to hear. I love De Niro. I love those mob movies. It's like
I don't want to hear him that he's a moron. I don't want to hear him talking about politics and about Trump supporters and just man.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't think this through. Like, this is, and he's getting yelled at. He's doing an out.
I hate bullies, thugs who use their strength to push other people around. They think they can achieve power and hang on to it by intimidating others. Sadly, sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't. And not
When Joe Rogan starts talking, even legends get nervous. Robert De Niro is in the eye of the storm. That calm, legendary face? Shaken. That iconic New York growl? Questioned. And just when you think you know who's winning, Rogan flips the table, pulls out a wild analogy about elk hunting, MMA, or something nobody saw coming. And suddenly, De Niro's smirk looks suspiciously like panic. Buckle up, because this isn't a chat. It's a comedic demolition.
Why is he talking about this? Why is he talking about this publicly?
I'm going to say one thing. Trump.
If you're going to come out and say that you have a really deep-seated hatred for one of the two people running for president, you can't just be he's a...
I think that it is. I always keep saying democracy is great, of course. But democracy people take for granted. It's a word that some people don't even understand. They take it for granted. It's about right and wrong, period. The guy's a monster.
You ever think you've seen the ultimate legend, the untouchable titan of Hollywood, standing there with a smirk like the universe itself bends around him? Then Joe Rogan strolls in with a mic, a grin, and enough curiosity to make a physics professor nervous. And suddenly, that smirk isn't so untouchable.
He's being this old grumpy man that is so lost that he thinks it's a good idea to stand in front of a bunch of people on the street and give a speech on camera about how bad Donald Trump is.
This is not a threat. This is a reality.
I think those guys have no friends. I think the only friends they have are Hollywood phonies.
Because he doesn't belong in my city.
You're in this weird world where everybody you talk to is a phony, and you become a phony, and everyone's a phony, and your grasp on reality is very slippery.
Trump bought their votes with outrageous lies and empty promises.
Robert De Niro, the guy who made us all fear you talking to me, finds himself blinking like he just heard the plot of an MMA fight explained through elk mating rituals. And it starts innocently enough. De Niro, sitting there like a king surveying his kingdom of awards and iconic movie moments, probably thinks he's seen everything. He has.
Do you think that's starting to affect Hollywood a little bit to where now if you look at the most successful people, it is the realest people? You know, people might not even like, say, a Donald Trump, but people are gravitated because they think, hey, man, this is him. This is real.
I think the best thing for people in Hollywood that are entrenched in that world is to shut because as soon as they start talking, people, like as soon as Robert De Niro starts talking, I'm like, Jesus, get that fucking microphone away from him so I can enjoy Taxi Driver.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
He's waffed with Scorsese, stared down Pacino, survived Hollywood's weirdest scripts. But Rogan doesn't care about pedigree, Oscars, or legacy. He cares about the absurd, the untamed, the wait. Are you seriously saying that? Moments. And De Niro quickly realizes this isn't a conversation. It's a high-stakes comedy demolition.
Piece of shit. I hate him.
He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country. It makes me so angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has.
You probably, if you're going to express yourself about it and alienate 50% of the country, which it seems like it is, you're going to have to do better than that. You should have some specific things. Like he did some real estate deals with people in New York. Let me tell you what he did to people over.
I would love to hear it.
He did this and that. Let me tell you what he did that was fraud. He did.
Rogan leans forward, not in intimidation, but in total curiosity mode. You can see it in his eyes. He's ready to dissect, challenge, and just maybe make a Hollywood legend question everything. De Niro's classic glare flickers for a second. Maybe that's the pause between genius and confusion. Maybe it's the realization that he's about to be taken somewhere no actor's prepared to go. The first round, Rogan drops something so random, so bizarrely specific, that it's impossible for anyone to respond. It's not a joke, not exactly. It's a statement, a wild analogy about hunting, strategy, or something that sounds like it was pulled from the middle of a survivalist podcast. De Niro squints. He tilts his head. That tilt says, I've seen sharks. I've been in mafia movies. I've stared at death itself. What is happening right now? But Rogan just smiles, calm and collected, like a man who knows he's building chaos one casual sentence at a time. And here's where it escalates. The conversation could have stayed on safe ground. Movies, acting, Hollywood nostalgia. But Rogan doesn't do safe. He starts weaving threads that connect MMA strategy to emotional resilience, elk hunting to career longevity, and somehow, links it all back to De Niro's most iconic roles. You can almost see De Niro's brain juggling, trying to parse the logic while his legendary cool starts cracking at the corners. The smirk falters. The glare softens. Suddenly, he's just a human in a storm of Rogan energy.
Being this old grumpy man that is so lost that he thinks it's a good idea to stand in front of a bunch of people on the street and give a speech on camera about how bad Donald Trump is.
This is not a threat. This is a reality.
I think those guys have no friends. I think the only friends they have are Hollywood phonies.
Because he doesn't belong in my city.
You're in this weird world where everybody you talk to is a phony, and you become a phony, and everyone's a phony, and your grasp on reality is very slippery.
Trump bought their votes with outrageous lies and empty promises.
I think he's old, too. There's a thing about old men. They want to yell at everybody.
And on January 6th, rallied an angry mob to threaten democracy.
It's fascinating because Rogan doesn't attack. He just observes. The way he frames questions, the way he injects absurd hypotheticals, it's like watching a comedic judo master. Every question, every analogy, pushes De Niro's stoic exterior just a millimeter further, and then Rogan pivots like a pro. One moment they're discussing acting techniques. The next moment, De Niro's being compared, uncomfortably, to a bear defending its cubs. You can almost see the gears grinding, De Niro weighing. Do I respond seriously? Do I play along? Do I pretend I understood the metaphor about the elk? And the crowd, or at least the imagined audience in this mental cinema, can't help but lean in. You're laughing, not because Rogan is cruel, but because he's surgical with absurdity. He's like someone who knows every tool in the toolbox, and every tool just happens to be wildly inappropriate for the setting. De Niro, meanwhile, is recalibrating constantly, like a fighter facing an opponent who doesn't punch the same way twice. 1 second, Rogan's sharing something about the psychology of dominance hierarchies in wolves. Next, he's connecting that to movie monsters and how humans respond to fear. De Niro blinks. A slight twitch in the jaw. A pause. You know that pause? That's the sound of a legend being absolutely, deliciously destabilized.
The people that are doing it right now about Biden telling you how you should vote, even though you know he's impaired, you definitely shouldn't vote for Trump.
He has no understanding that I can see of the outside world other than anything around him. He has no idea of what his purpose in life is as the president should be, and that is to pull the country together, to be for the people, to heal wounds, not to open them up and pour salt on them.
Don't tell people that, you idiot, because it's going to make more people angry and want to vote for Trump. You are not going to convince anyone walking down the west side of New York City talking into
Then comes the physicality, or, more accurately, the imagined physical comedy. You can picture it. De Niro shifts in his chair, subtly, like a cat realizing the laser pointer is actually a portal to another dimension. Rogan, hands animated, tracing invisible paths in the air, explaining complex topics with the intensity of a man teaching quantum mechanics to MMA fighters. De Niro's stoicism cracks more and more, a smile threatening to escape, then retreating. It's the push and pull of intellect versus legend, absurdity versus gravitas. And here's the beauty. It's not even a fight. Rogan isn't trying to humiliate De Niro. He's curious, relentless, and willing to take tangents that are so ridiculous they force De Niro into improvisation mode. This is De Niro's domain. Normally, improvisation, subtle reactions, intensity, but Rogan rewrites the rules. Suddenly, De Niro is reacting to hypotheticals involving elk, cage fighting, and ancient philosophers debating morality while skydiving. The mental gymnastics are insane, and the audience can't look away. The real kicker comes when Rogan starts blending reality and absurdity so seamlessly that De Niro can't even tell which direction to focus. 1 minute, they're talking about acting technique. The next, they're comparing existential dread to MMA training, and somehow the conversation loops back to iconic gangster films. De Niro's jaw tightens. The glare returns. You know, the classic "don't mess with me" De Niro glare, but it's tempered now, softened with confusion and the faintest whiff of admiration for the chaos Rogan is orchestrating.
Robert, you're 80 years old. Don't ruin this thing. You've had this life where you were a fucking raging bull. You know, you were in The Godfather. Like, stop doing this. Man. Don't do this.
I'm terrified to meet some of those people I looked up to now.
You should be.
I mean, like
I've met a few of them, and it's actors in particular, because their whole business is pretend. Their whole business is pretend. You know, one of the things about guys like Theo or comedians, you run into comedians, their business is...
And it escalates further because Rogan thrives in escalation. He doesn't just drop ideas. He threads them like a needle through a circus act. Elk hunting, MMA, philosophy, pop culture, Hollywood's weirdest scandals. Each concept is a step on a staircase that leads De Niro somewhere absurd. And De Niro, who has survived Scarface-level tension on screen, looks like he's just realized he left the oven on at home. That pause, that slight widening of the eyes, that's pure cinematic gold. Now imagine the imagined reactions. De Niro, mid-thought, blinks slowly, trying to understand whether he's being tested or interviewed or casually roasted by a man who makes curiosity itself seem dangerous. You can almost hear the internal monologue. Did I just get asked about the emotional intelligence of wolves while discussing my role in Taxi Driver? Did that happen? Am I awake? Meanwhile, Rogan leans in, calm, as if explaining gravity to a time traveler, his grin just wide enough to suggest, yep, this is exactly where I wanted you. And the dialogue. Oh, the dialogue. It's a masterclass in escalation without confrontation. Rogan asks questions that sound innocent, casual, like a friendly inquiry, but they're so specifically weird, so pointed, that De Niro's natural instinct to deliver calm, measured responses fails spectacularly. You can see him recalibrating mid-sentence, pivoting between seriousness, confusion, and the faintest amusement. That tiny smile flickering across his face. That's victory for Rogan alone.
I think Robert De Niro's just got Trump derangement syndrome.
When Trump ran in 2016, it was like a joke. This buffoon running for president.
Did you see when he went and gave that speech outside? And then he starts yelling at regular people. You're a gangster.
You are gangsters. You are gangsters.
Your vision of the world is blurring, literally and figuratively, and then you're getting old. And when old people are tired and cranky, they just want everyone to listen to them, and they don't have time to have a calm conversation. Get off my lawn! And that's what he's doing.
And no one is laughing now. This is the time to stop him by voting him out once and...
But it doesn't stop there. Rogan starts spinning thought experiments so wild, you almost forget you're watching a conversation and not a surrealist comedy. Imagine linking De Niro's characters to modern society's obsession with self-improvement podcasts, or comparing classic movie mobsters to MMA gyms where humans chase adrenaline like oxygen. De Niro's eyes widen, then narrow, then widen again. He's clearly thinking, I've prepared for method acting, for improvisation, for staring into souls. But this is new. And as the layers build, Rogan subtly shifts into observational absurdity. He isn't mean. He's analytical, hilarious, and relentless. Every metaphor, every tangent, forces De Niro to react in real time. The energy becomes almost tangible, like watching a hurricane swirl around a historic monument. You're on the edge of your seat, laughing and cringing, waiting to see how the man who never broke character in The Godfather Part 2 will survive, a conversation about elk dominance hierarchies. Then there's the charm offensive. Rogan throws in unexpected compliments, but so twisted with absurdity that they double as mental jabs. You're incredible in those roles, but do you think the same approach works in a cage fight with philosophical wolves? De Niro blinks. A smirk almost forms. He's trying not to smile, but curiosity is winning. And as every second passes, it's clear, Rogan isn't just conducting a conversation. He's performing a slow, theatrical, comedic demolition that even the greatest actor can't fully anticipate.
The people that are doing it right now about Biden telling you how you should vote, even though you know he's impaired, you definitely shouldn't vote for Trump.
He has no understanding that I can see of the outside world other than anything around him. He has no idea of what his purpose in life is as the president should be, and that is to pull the country together, to be for the people, to heal wounds, not to open them up and pour salt on them.
Don't tell people that, you idiot, because it's going to make more people angry and want to vote for Trump. You are not going to convince anyone walking down.
And here's the brilliance. De Niro's reactions are priceless. He blinks, frowns, smirks, tilts his head, gestures subtly, all while Rogan keeps the momentum. The imagined audience laughs not because De Niro is failing, but because the sheer unpredictability of Rogan's thought process creates tension, absurdity, and suspense all at once. It's mental ping pong on steroids. At one point, Rogan escalates even further, bringing in MMA anecdotes, extreme survival stories, and pop culture references that seem only tangentially connected to anything. De Niro's legendary composure is tested. That smirk, once confident and untouchable, is now flecked with confusion, amusement, and, dare we say, respect. It's like watching a master chess player realize their opponent isn't playing chess at all, but inventing a new game mid-match. And Rogan doesn't relent. He teases, prods, and entangles De Niro in these hypothetical situations so wild, so unprepared for, that the conversation begins to feel like watching someone juggle flaming swords while riding a unicycle across Niagara Falls. De Niro's eyes widen. The jaw tightens. The smirk flits like a butterfly trapped in a storm. Every reaction is a goldmine, a testament to Rogan's ability to push without hitting. By the midpoint, it's clear Rogan has won. If winning is measured by the amount of mental gymnastics he's forced upon a Hollywood legend.
Their business is just being a real person talking shit.
Yeah.
The professional shit talkers.
Yeah.
You know, having fun, being silly, talking shit about things. And actors are not that. They're weird people, man. And the one thing that's harming them in Hollywood is that they get exposed for being who they really are. And a lot of these people that pretend to be all, you know, clean cut and you find out they're into freaky shit. And, you know, it's like.
And it's easier to expose stuff now because social media, I'm sure, like back in the day, I can only imagine.
De Niro is engaged, challenged, flustered, and laughing at himself more than anyone else. That smirk? Fleeting. That classic glare? Tarnished by curiosity and wonder. And that faint glimmer of panic only a true master of improvisation could recognize. And as De Niro responds, sometimes confused, sometimes amused, you realize that what you're watching is part comedy, part performance art, part psychological sparring. As the final act unfolds, Rogan leans in with a mischievous grin, spinning one last analogy so convoluted, so perfect in its absurdity, that De Niro's legendary calm finally gives way to a full, if restrained, chuckle. It's victory without humiliation, comedy without cruelty, chaos with charm. The audience is left gasping, laughing, and just a little terrified by the sheer unpredictability of one man armed with curiosity, wit, and the kind of relentless energy that makes legends second-guess themselves.
To hurt this country, it's something deeply psychological in him. He wants to hurt people. He wants to hurt this country. He doesn't care.
Instead of just being this cranky old liberal, which I know a lot of them.
Upsets me the most is that people follow him and they think and they kiss his and they look up to him.
Instead of that, now you're this guy that is yelling at other people that are Trump supporters and they're yelling at you.
I don't understand it. I don't understand the people in his cabinet, how they can live with themselves.
Like you've opened yourself up to this nonsense. Why? Now every movie you go to, 50% of the population is going to not want to.
And when the conversation finally winds down, when the hypothetical elk fights, MMA strategies, and philosophical tangents settle into silence, you realize what just happened. Joe Rogan didn't just talk to Robert De Niro. He navigated, twisted, and brilliantly distorted a conversation until a Hollywood icon. There's a universe where he is not the king of calm. And Rogan? He walks away, casual as ever, leaving nothing but the faintest trail of absurdity in his wake. It's chaos, comedy, and cinematic history rolled into one. It's Joe Rogan at his best, curious, relentless, and utterly unpredictable. And it's De Niro like you've never seen him before. Confused, challenged, entertained, and maybe just a little destroyed.